Hi there, I'm Jill Blanchett with Green Thumb Stampers, and I'm here to bring you my first card in the Fun in the Sun paper pumpkin kit. I just realized they spelled the wrong. Fun in the Sun paper pumpkin kit. So here's my first card I'm going to show you is this little guy. And when I saw this, it just made me think of a deserted island, and so I went with it. So I'm going to show you how to make this. I've got a 4 1/4 by 11-inch piece of paper. You can score it at 5 1/2 and fold, or you could just fold it in half and score real good on your fold line. And I'm using the envelope. And we're just going to trim off the sides of it. I'm going to fold this down. Probably just cut that right off too. I will be using the stripies in different spots along the way of my cards this month, so do not discard those. And I'm just cutting a little bit off each spot so that it releases it. I have got a piece of the Afternoon Azure paper that I'm going to glue on top of the piece of the cardstock that I'm going to cut to fit the front of the card, which is 4 inches. So let me cut the flap off. I'll go this way. I want to do 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'll need to pull in my other trimmer for that. Like that. And then I misspoke. I used the other piece of the envelope for this. I didn't get the actual cardstock. I just used the piece of the envelope. And so we want that to be 4 inches wide. And then I just cut it straight across where the card started, or the paper starts to curve. All right, so then let me set this aside. I got this piece from the envelope, and I have the Gentle Waves stamp set. It's retired, sorry, but again, this is where my mind was taking me, so I had to work with what I had for the ideas I was coming up with. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up with the Afternoon Azure. And then I'm just going to lay that on there. Did I get it in enough? Let's see if I can fold that over. Press on the big stamps. This is how I like to get them inked up. It's just easier for me. Set that out of the way. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue this onto the other piece, the light blue. Portion of the envelope. So now I'm going to do some clouds from the Plain in the Rain stamp set, and I think we might have had a cloud recently in our our paper pumpkin kits, but finding them was another obstacle, so I just went with Plain in the Rain that I could find. And I've got Balmy Blue ink, and I'm going to stamp off. Don't want them too dark. I'm just going to put a set of clouds up here on the top. And then I'm going to stamp a sun from the kit. And I'm going to use Daffodil Delight on a scrap piece of white here. Just got the sun. Like that. Now you could fussy cut around that if you want to. I'm just going to use, I got a 1-inch punch. And again, if you want it to be, you know, a little more pokey, you can trim it around, cut around all those. I did not. I just wanted to put it on there like this because everything else seems to have like a little bit of a white border. Some of them I'm going to cut off throughout the cards, but for the most part the die cuts have a white border around them, so I thought that it would be okay to leave this white border on there. I'm going to stick that up in the sky. Now I've got the big, I'm going to call it my deserted island. I've got my deserted island I'm going to put out here in the middle of the ocean. And I'm going to glue the base of it down with flat. And then I'm putting some dimensionals around the upper portion. Looks like I got to trim them to pop the fronds and such up. I'll just put a few of them. You get the idea. And I'll put that kind of by the middle, floating in the middle of the ocean. Stick that down. Stick that up. Then I'm going to get my scrap white again. And I've got the Silhouette Scenes stamp set. I'm going to use this little girl here. She's got her telescope, it's not a periscope, little telescope, her binoculars, her looking tool, and I'm gonna use Crumb Cake because I didn't know what other color to use because she is a silhouette. Didn't know what other color to use, but I got Crumb Cake. And it's a little bit dark. She will lighten up. But like I said, I didn't know what else to use. And I am cutting her off at the knees. And I might even have to cut her a little smaller than that. But then just go ahead and trim around her. Leave as much of a white border as you want. Mine, I left my sample, I left a little bit of a white border, but this one I'm just going to cut right up next to the brown so I can go faster, and I'm not going to worry about being too precise for the sake of time here. Go around. She's lonely. She's looking for a friend to come hang out with her. This would be a good card if you got someone on vacation away from you, someone's moved, you've gone somewhere, you just want to let someone know you're missing them. You wish they were there with you. All right. So I cut the little girl out. I'm going to pop up a dimensional behind her head. And then her lower body, I'm going to glue flat. And I'm going to tuck her in here to give it a little closer, I'm going to call it a little better proportion, because I got to cut some more of her legs off so it sticks in there better. I originally was going to put her out here, but she's too tall for how big my desert island or deserted island is. So I'm sticking her back there behind that just to give her a little bit of better proportion for how big we want people to think our trees are. And then I got that same white scrap that I'm going to use Wish You Were Here from the kit in Azure Afternoon. Oops, I just stamped that crooked, but we can fix that. I'm not going to, but we can fix it by when we cut it out. I'm going to go with this like that, and then I'm going to cut it. Get my little trimmer in here. Cut that. Just start with that cut, and then I can go a little less. I don't want it to be too big. Pull that up a little bit, so it's probably like really small. And then I'm going to mount that on a little piece of blue Azure portion of one of the cards. We're going to use pieces of all the cards, so you can either use cardstock if you have it, or this little piece where it's going to bend on your cards. You can cut that off on one of them so that you can use it for other things. All right. Well, that's a little bit more than I wanted. Let's see if I can cut a straight enough line and cut a piece of that off. There we go. And then I pop that up on the front just below the island. And as you'll see on my sample, I tried to get the water. I wanted to incorporate the water into the, give it a better definition of the water right up to the edge. And I forgot to do that on this one because I wasn't going to. I'm not gonna, I'll see what but if you've got this die, try and get a little bit of it, because I got way more than I wanted on this sample, and then this one I didn't get any, so I'll put this up to the bottom, cover it up a little bit because I don't know if we can take that stamp and somehow stamp some of the water on it. You get the idea of what I was trying to do, though. From there, we're going to glue that onto the card front of the Azure Afternoon. You could also just use white if you don't have any of the in colors like that, or the new colors. It's not an in color, it's a new color. Go ahead and glue that down, then just put a white piece on the inside, and you are good to go. And that's our first card. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys that I was able to get the water a little bit better on the deserted island, and then where I had made a line across it with the dark, I put the sentiment over it and kind of covered up that end of it. So that's how my card ended up. And that's it for number 1.